2023 Columbiana City Council meeting to order. And we have a jam-packed agenda tonight, so give you guys an opportunity to take a look at that. And while we're doing that, I'll ask First Councilman Rustin to give us our invocation.
Sure, let us pray. Dear God, we thank you for the opportunity to join tonight as a group, as always, Lord. We thank you as we enter the fall and the holiday season, God, and we thank you just for that and what this season means. And I ask you, Lord, just allow us just to appreciate this season of the year as we go forward, God. As always, Lord, I thank you so much for the opportunity just to meet tonight as a group. Lord, we thank you so much for what's going on in the city, the things that have gone on all year, and Lord, we prepare for the end of the year, God. I just thank you for a successful year for the city and everybody that's helped it grow and go on a day-to-day basis, God. We thank you so much for that. I ask you, Lord, be with the things that are mentioned tonight. Let it be for the benefit for the city and the people within. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you'll stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And while you are continuing to look over the agenda, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Lilly.
Here.
Mizell. Rustin.
Here.
King.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
Mayor Mitchell.
Here. Okay, looks like we have a quorum. Mizell not being, Councilwoman Mizell not being here. So I'm going to give you a couple more minutes to look over this agenda since it's so jam-packed. I know the print's probably smaller back there. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. But hopefully we can get through this stuff as quickly as we can. All right. As always, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the regular council meeting minutes from the 3rd of October. And if you looked in your War and Peace packages that were passed out this evening, you'll find that the minutes are in there. The council's had an opportunity to review those. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Okay. If not, let the record show that the minutes are approved as written. And we'll move on into the department head reports. And Lieutenant, we got the police departments up first.
Oh, yes, sir. Good evening. So we're going to start with the department is still growing. We're excited. We have some events coming up. We've been really involved with the schools. The SROs have. Of course, we've had the color run at Elvin Hill. We've had Pink Out already at, the Pink Out last Friday with SCHS. We've also have an anti-bullying rally coming up with CMS as well as Drug Awareness Week next week. So it has been pretty busy, of course, especially with homecoming this week. We have one on-the-job injury, and that's Officer Peppers. We have two that need a little oiling up, but they're going to be getting back full strength hopefully soon. We are currently on course with our budget. We have a new vehicle downstairs, and that's not totally outfitted yet. And we'll be placing our officer as soon as we get that striped and outfitted in that vehicle. We have one position open. We have some advertising going on for that right now. All our equipment is good. Our training is in. We have one more officer going into SWAT training next week. And we also have firearms training coming up in the month of November. Other than that, our highlights are our DECA that's coming back between, I guess, the end of this month, early November, hopefully. Our issues and concerns, of course, Halloween is coming up, the trick-or-treating, making sure that we're watching over our kids, staying out the highways, staying out the streets. And also, with holidays coming, please remember to schedule your deliveries at a time when you're at home, or schedule them to whereas the UPS guy is on your side or FedEx is on your side to hide your gifts or packages for you. And that's all.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you, appreciate it. Admin,
Everything is going good in admin. So far budget is, this fiscal year is good. The numbers at the bottom are for September. We actually closed fiscal year 23, October 27th, so after that we'll have the final numbers for last fiscal year. Myself and the assistant city clerk did municipal revenue officer training online October 4th through the 6th. Mine, I only have to take like one class every 2 years to maintain my hours, and she's going through it to get her actual certification. Other than that, everything's going good.
questions? All right, moving right along. Court.
Nothing new's going on in court, so it's pretty quiet, everything's staying the same, everything's good. The judge and the prosecutor have training coming up, of course, in November. Next court's the 24th, and driving school is November 15th, and everything's pretty steady.
Okay. Got training in Las Vegas for that?
Burrito.
Any questions for, court? Public Works.
Yes, sir, everything's going pretty good in street sanitation department. We're working on some equipment we've had broke down and stuff. Everything trying to get it put back together. We got one piece of it ready to go back together today and everything. The new shop out there is between 70 and 80% completed and stuff. We're currently working on, me and the engineers working on getting the bids ready to send out on the grading and the electrical work and working on our paving projects and stuff, getting it ready to send out for bid and stuff. We can get working on some of it as quick as we can.
Okay. I got pictures to show when I do the mayor's report, so I'll give people an idea what's going on out there at the shop. Any questions for Alan?
When do you think you may be in it?
I think they'll have the top on it by probably end of next week. It's just that top's a slow go. Instead of having to pull the insulation and the wind don't help when we got the wind and stuff trying to get it up there. I say by the end of next week they'll have it on there, then we'll get started with electrical and stuff. Now, once we get it in the drive, we're gonna start cleaning this old shop out. There's gonna be several old drifts gonna get to the ship camp. This junk. If it ain't been used in 3 or 4 years, obviously we don't need it, and it's gonna take a ride.
Yeah. So you think by the end of the first of the year, you think it may be
We're
functional?
close, and
Okay.
we should have a lot of it done.
Good.
That would be so nice.
So what I think, my 2 cents worth, is in order for him to clean out the old warehouse and start moving things in there, basically he needs the roof and the power.
Mm-hmm.
The office space common area stuff is, they won't be able to move out of this building, for a while, because most of that's gonna be, a good bit of that's gonna be self-help. We're gonna have to do that ourselves. So, anyway, it's, I think we can get cleaned out of the old warehouse for sure. And, we'll still have a lot of work, I think, to go out there for several months.
It's good.
Is the size of it still gonna be the same, or did y'all cut it down?
We took 25 foot off of it, this would be for parking and stuff, but it's still more room we've ever had.
I would like to see y'all get out of this building for your house. It's bad.
Okay. Any other questions for Alan? All right, did we have any boards meet?
Planning met last Thursday.
Yeah.
We had 2 rezoning applications. They were both from Star Columbiana, which is, the Cube Smart. They actually have 3 parcels. One is zoned M2, one is M1, and one is R2. they're trying to get everything the same, they want everything zoned M2, and then, if that all passes through the city, they're gonna go to the county and get all that put into one parcel, so they'll just get one tax notice. That was approved, that application, so we'll have a public hearing on November 9th at that, planning meeting. And if it's approved, then it'll come to council the end of December for another public hearing.
Do we know what that summer classes is on? Is it M2 right there? The summer classes? APSCO.
Yeah, I think everything right there is M2 because of what it was in the past, so.
Any other boards? Okay. This is where it's gonna get interesting. So what we've got to do now is suspend the regular council meeting and have a public hearing dealing with zoning. One of the zoning issues is to rezone 1051 Highway 70, which is actually property behind the Springs Crossing development, from R3 to A1. It's across the railroad track. And then the other one is to pre-zone West Side Lane, which is currently not zoned since it's currently in unincorporated Shelby County, and that's to pre-zone it to B2. So that's the requirement for the public hearing. So is there a motion to suspend the meeting?
I'll make that motion. That we suspend the meeting.
So,
And there's a second. Do we need to do that unanimously?
We have to do a roll call vote, yes.
Okay, do a roll call then, please.
Councilmember Lilly?
yes.
Weston?
Yes.
King? Yes. Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell?
Yes. Okay, so the meeting is, regular council meeting is suspended, and I'll now call to order the public hearing. So I've got a script I need to read here. So proper notice of the regularly scheduled council meeting for the city of Columbiana was given in advance of this public meeting, and the notice remained posted through this scheduled meeting. So we've already suspended this meeting. See, I could have read all that a minute ago. I'd have been better off. So I'm now calling to order the public hearing for anyone speaking against the rezoning of the tax parcel, which is at 1051 Highway 70. I want to remind the council members that at the public hearing, it's not the time for debate. It's obviously for us to hear arguments from the public for or against, and then we, once we reconvene the council meeting, can discuss those issues as a council. So at this time, would anyone like to speak in favor of the rezoning request for 1051 Highway 70, R3 to A1? Okay, is anyone who would like to speak against that zoning request? Okay, so let the record show there were no comments one way or the other regarding the zoning request from R3 to A1 for 1051 Highway 70 for rezoning. So now we're going to take under consideration or hear from the public on pre-zoning of West Side Lane from its currently no zoned area to B2. Why is it pre-zoning? Just in order of clarification. At present, that property is not inside the city limits of Columbiana, and so we can't zone it until such time as it is. So after this hearing, there will be an annexation hearing to annex that piece of property. If that piece of property is annexed in assuming that the pre-zoning request to B2 is granted, then that property would become B2. If that zoning request were disapproved and it was not zoned or pre-zoned to B2, then the annexation request would die, would be moot. Okay, so the property would remain in unincorporated Shelby County and unzoned. So now, I'd like to hear for anyone who's willing to speak for the pre-zoning of property on West Side Lane.
Just so I can know whether to give y'all the diet version or all 5 courses, does anybody here speak against it? Y'all heard something good. So, I'm gonna give y'all the pony bottle size version. But, I want to bring this into the city as B2. I want to bring it into the city to facilitate the subdivision of it, so that Joey Roberto can build the new Napa there, okay? I want it to be B2 because the businesses that have been there are B2. It is, so, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. The plan is when it is, when we subdivide it, we do a simple subdivision into 5 lots. So, I'm going to take those 4 buildings, and each one will be those parcels, and that'll be roughly 1 acre. The remaining 5 acres will all be one big parcel that they're gonna build the Napa on, as close to the Murphy Wall Products building as possible, okay? And then, it's gonna be Joey's thing, Joey Roberto with the Napa. It'll be good for the city because as it is right now, I mean, they're gonna build the Napa, he's gonna build the Napa there regardless either way, but the sales tax revenue will remain in the city. And then all the sales tax revenue from these 4 parcels that are gonna be, will be in the city. And then, the long-term plan, if you, I think I can speak approximately for Joey, is at some point in the future, for him to take that 5 acres, he's using about 1 acre of it for the Napa, and then do another simple subdivision, and then there will be 4 more parcels for 4 other types of buildings out there. That's roughly it. And I can go on, but if I were y'all, that would be the point that I lost interest at. So I try to find that point stop.
So we assume you are in favor.
I am in favor.
All right, and notwithstanding the fact that you already polled the audience, I have to ask, is there anyone who would be willing to, who is here and wants to speak against the pre-zoning of this property? Okay. So if there's no further comments, one way or the other, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay. And this time it's just all in favor of the adjournment of the public hearing, say aye.
Uh,
Opposed? Okay, so it's unanimous. Okay, public hearing is adjourned, and I will now call back into session the regular council meeting. So we have before us an ordinance, 102302, to rezone the property that we discussed earlier during the public hearing at 1051 Highway 70 from R3 to A1. I would like to say that if we choose to adopt this ordinance at the first reading, we will be required to suspend the rules, and there will have to be a motion put forward to suspend the rules, and there'll have to be unanimous consent of the council to suspend the rules. So we can suspend the rules now for both of these, or we can discuss each one individually. So is there a motion?
Can we suspend and discuss both together?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
If we suspend them now, we'll just suspend them for both motions, if there's such a motion to do.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, and we'll need a roll call vote, it must be unanimous.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Weston,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, so as mentioned, this ordinance is to rezone this particular property. when Springs Crossings expansion was annexed and rezoned, it kind of just did it all, but there was never a plan for Springs Crossing it did it all at R3. There was never really a plan for them to develop that area beyond, or what would that be? East of the railroad tracks, or is that south? Anyway, on the other side of the tracks, there was never really a plan to develop that. So now there's somebody who wants that property and would like for it to revert back to A1. Actually, it was not zoned before, but it would like for it to be A1, which is common for, in this area for estate lot type.
Well, I guess that's agricultural.
Agriculture.
Right. So, is there a buffer between the last house up to this agricultural lot? Meaning, if they put animals, which I assume that's what it's for.
The only restriction is if you have anything that houses animals, it has to be 100 feet from any property line. So it means it can't butt up against.
So they can't be free roaming, or they can? Or they still have to be 100 feet free roaming?
Whatever houses the animal, so like the barn,
Uh-huh.
or whatever structure has to be 100 feet off of the property line. It just talks about the structure and the zoning in the, districts, not the actual animals.
But you said the railroad tracks will be the buffer though?
Yeah, I believe so. I think all the property we're talking about is on the other side of the track, so you've got a natural buffer
Okay.
right away in the train tracks.
Okay.
And if the guy has cows, the trains still have cow catchers, I don't know.
Train stop for cows, they're good. Okay.
All right. Any other discussion regarding this particular parcel? Okay, would anyone like to introduce this ordinance?
I'll introduce ordinance number 102302 to rezone property from R3 to A1 at 1051 Highway 70.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll read.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, ordinance 102302 has been passed. Okay, so since we have pre-zoned this particular, or we had the hearing for this particular property, now ordinance 102303 is before us to pre-zone it to B2. Currently, no zoning. Is there any other further discussion on the subject parcel?
I know the answer to this question. So, Zach, based on what you mentioned, those other 4 parcels futurely or whatever, we wouldn't have to it'd already be rezoned B2 over there. So this one, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. And I've just got a general question. Pre-zoning carries no weight whatsoever, right?
It does. The only reason that you pre-zone versus zoning is because that parcel, that property is not in the city limits already. So you pre-zone, so you already know what the plan is, like what
Yeah.
the zoning will be, and then you do the annexation, and then it's kind of all done together.
Yeah, I just, as a general question, if you wasn't going to annex a property in the city, the pre-zoning would just be a moot. You wouldn't want to.
Well, you have 180 days to do the annexation after
Okay.
you do a pre-zoning, but normally everybody does it together
Yeah.
because they're trying to move.
Yeah,
forward
okay.
with something.
And all the other lots are B2 in there?
Well, all the lots right now are unzoned.
Because
It's
they're all in the
going to
county.
be B2 after it's not.
I think the point he was trying to make earlier was that the businesses that will be there are currently B2, particularly the one that wants to move there, Napa. They're that type of business.
Yeah.
And everything that is being rezoned fits in a B2.
Anyone care to introduce the ordinance?
I'll introduce ordinance 102303 is pre-zoning property at West Side Lane from no zoning to B2.
I'll second.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lilly?
Yes.
Rustin?
Yes.
King? Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell?
Yes. Okay, ordinance 102303 has been adopted. And so now, what we need to do is take into consideration the ordinance to annex the property that we just pre-zoned. So is there any discussion? We all know what the property is, and we pretty much discussed it here, but is there any more questions? So this will take in all of the property with the exception of them having to bring up the business that's.
Murphy Wall Products and the Harvest Church will
Yes.
both still be.
Harvest Church is already in the city.
Oh, it is, okay.
It is.
But what is it zoned?
It's no zoning.
No zoning because of church.
Well, it should have been zoned, and we
It
were
just
talking
wasn't.
about that today. It's listed on the GIS as no zoning. We're gonna have to do some searching and see if at some point in time, when it was brought into the city, if it was zoned.
Would it fall under B2?
Yes, because of assembly.
it
Assembly
could.
falls under B2.
And generally, churches do not fall under a
Yeah.
residential type of, nothing precludes them, but they generally don't fall in. So,
Yeah.
anyway. Any other questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll introduce ordinance 102301. It's annexing property on West Side Lane.
Second.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes?
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes, and so ordinance 102301 is passed. And so, the pre-zoning that we did now takes effect as a result of the annexation.
Is that immediate effect or is, okay, good. Thank you, Zach.
Thanks, man. Gotta go win this homecoming float competition.
Okay. All right, so now we need to have another public hearing regarding abated property. As you know, we had several properties, 460 Highway 47, 317 Nelson Walker Road, and 1850 Highway 47 South. And we have already abated those properties. And this process is to go over the final assessment. And I've got some sheets here, I think. Is that all on one sheet or is it on several?
It's behind each resolution.
All right, so I just want to, real quick, go over each one of these. So, 460 Highway 47, there's an itemized list at Exhibit A there that shows you what all the various expenses, so the total assessment, for which a lien will be put on the property is $8,115.97. Are there any questions or concerns about that assessment? Okay, and then the other one, which is 317 Nelson Walker Road. The sum is $9,352.68. Exhibit A to that particular assessment or abatement is, the details are back there as far as the cost. Any questions or concerns there? And then the final one is 1850 Highway 47 South. And the assessment there is $10,519.58. And you can see the detail of Exhibit A of that particular one. Okay, so I guess I need to suspend the meeting, so proper notice of the regularly scheduled council meeting is given in advance of this public meeting, and notice remaining posted through this scheduled meeting. I'll entertain a motion to suspend this meeting, once again, to have a public hearing.
Make a motion to suspend this meeting.
I'll second.
Okay,
Councilmember Lilly,
Here.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, so the regular meeting, council meeting is suspended again. So now, I'm gonna call to order the public hearing to hear for anyone speaking for or against these final assessments that I just reviewed for the abated property at 460 Highway 47 North, 317 Nelson Walker Road, which is also known as 15 and 25 Wood Lane, and then 1850 Highway 47 South. Again, I'll remind the council, this is a time for us to hear from the public. It's not a time for debate. We will have that discussion once the regular council meeting is reconvened. So at this time, I'll ask, is there anyone that has any questions about the final assessments for the abated property? So, if there are no questions or concerns about the assessments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And so that will show that the public hearing is adjourned by unanimous consent. All right, so now what we have to do is not an ordinance, but pass a resolution for each one of these final assessments. Would anyone care, first of all, is there any further discussion from the council regarding these assessments, particularly on the 460 Highway 47?
Just in general, what would be the discrepancy of the itemized list? Like if somebody said,
Publication fee was one of them.
Yeah, so the publication fee can be more, because if the legal description is longer,
yeah,
then it's per word, basically.
yeah,
If there are more, property owners or heirs, there could be more mailing
Mhm.
cost. And then to actually demolish some of the buildings, if the building was larger,
yeah,
it would cost more than some of the smaller ones.
okay. I was just curious.
Mhm.
Okay. But most of those items are fixed costs.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we have the documentation
Yeah.
for all of it.
I would, yeah, I'm just, yeah, curiosity.
Here, you introduce the resolution.
I'll introduce resolution 102304 for the lien on the property of 460 Highway 47.
I'll second.
Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lilly,
Here. Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. So moving on, this is final assessment, 317 Nelson Walker Road. We talked about that one as well. Is there any further discussion? Anyone care to introduce the resolution?
I'll introduce resolution 102305 to put a lien on the property of 317 Nelson Walker Road. Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. And finally, final assessment for 1850 Highway 47 South. Here's a case in point that Charlie was talking about. The
Yeah.
legal description here.
Very large.
Very large.
Yeah.
So,
It's old school community center.
is there any further discussion or questions regarding this property?
I'll introduce resolution 102306 to try to put a lien on 1850 Highway 47 South.
I'll second.
Okay, and would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes.
Feels good to get those things
Mm-hmm.
down,
All right.
cleaned up.
Yep.
So got through those hearings and those issues there fairly quickly. So now, this next resolution is to authorize me to sign a traffic enforcement agreement with ADECA. We do this basically every year. And it is essentially a contract. We have to do certain things in order to get some money from ADECA for our police department. So, anyone care, any questions or comments about this? If there's no further discussion? Is there someone who care to introduce this resolution?
I'll introduce resolution 102307. It's authorizing the mayor to sign a traffic enforcement agreement with the DECA.
Second.
Okay, we're not spending any money on this one, so I think we need to call the roll. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, so the resolution passes. These we're gonna spend money on. So, can you tell us, Charlene, who these trucks are, these vehicles are for?
Okay, so,
Start with this one, we'll just do the next one.
first of all, the reason that we bid, not long ago, we bid a truck for environmental. This, to order anything on the state bid has taken so long, like 18 months. It's quicker and easier for us to bid it out ourselves, get the bid in, get it open, get it awarded, and get a vehicle delivered than going through the state bid. So this Silverado is for the Public Works Department. We had a vehicle that died unexpectedly and needed major repair. So this is basically to replace the vehicle. The next one is the Chevrolet Equinox. It's for the senior center. We also had a vehicle that died, not really unexpectedly, but so this is the administration vehicle for the senior center, and then the one that they're currently using as admin will go to Meals on Wheels.
Are these both new vehicles?
They are both new. Yes.
All right, so
They're
let's,
both good cars.
Yeah, they are.
we'll get to the Equinox in a minute. So are there any questions or discussion about the crew truck?
Mr. Mayor, I'll introduce resolution 102308. It's the bid award for Chevrolet Silverado crew truck.
Second.
Yeah. Would you call the roll?
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yep.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. And here we are for the Chevy Equinox. Is there any further discussion or questions regarding this vehicle?
I'd like to introduce resolution 102309 for the bid award for the Chevrolet Equinox.
I'll second.
Okay, call roll, please.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, so the resolution passes. This one is I guess a software data pool that the police department participates in, and again, we've done this in prior years as well. It's technically an MOU, which is not supposed to be a contract, but there are some contractual obligations here, so bottom line, for advice and guidance from the city attorney that we should treat it as a contract and get the proper authorization for that, so. Any questions or discussions about this? If you need to know what it does in particular, don't ask me, but you might be able to ask the lieutenants.
I'll introduce resolution 102310, authorizing the mayor to sign a memorandum of
Oh,
Memorandum of
understanding.
understanding.
you know what, never mind. Understanding of data sharing.
Move.
Well, I looked at that, all I saw was under, and I thought, what?
I'll second.
Okay, you two call roll, please.
Councilmember Lilly.
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, resolution passes. So now, another one, this is a resolution authorizing the signed agreement for the employee assistance plan. We have been participating in EAP for as long as I'm aware of, and so essentially, is this a new provider, Upright?
It's not.
It's not, same one?
Mhm.
Okay. So this is something that we've done before as well. So any questions or discussions about the EAP agreement?
I'd like to introduce resolution 102311, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement for employee assistance plan.
Second.
Okay, and if you'll call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes, and the resolution passes. Finally,
Oh, this is the last one.
Okay.
Yay.
This is a resolution to, basically provide the ABC license for Columbiana Texaco, the Marathon, Circle K.
Yes, was sold.
Once upon a time, BP,
Yes.
and stations
Oh,
changed
okay.
a lot, and so, they sell, retail, beer. Do they sell wine here too?
They do.
Do they sell liquor?
They do not.
Okay. Anyway, this is, to basically get the ABC license for, new owners of that particular location. Any questions or discussion?
I'd like to introduce resolution 102312 for the ABC license for Columbiana, Texaco.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Councilmember Lilly,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes.
They are very picky about that.
Okay. All right, discussion other city business. You guys may recall, when, Kevin Morris and the folks from the county were here, and we decided to participate in the Shelby County Urban County Program. Shelby County submitted their application. They have been designated an urban county, which means that they will get, direct grants, from CDBG, and so now there'll be CDBG grants, which comes under the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So now that they have been accepted, they're going to all of the municipalities that are participating in the program and asking for folks to sit on their policy board, and initially it's going to be developing the processes and procedures on how they're going to award the grants, if you will. We can appoint anybody we want to. They suggest we do an alternate as well. I recommend that our primary representative be an elected official, but it doesn't have to be. Any discussion about that? Anybody have any thoughts, ideas, suggestions?
I do agree on the elected official. Probably an alternate can be, a step down from that, but I like that idea.
Okay. Anybody got any? We can go ahead and nominate and appoint tonight, because we do need to get that done before we have our next council meeting. What is it, the 31st is what they said? So, anybody have any nominations? Don't everybody step up at once. So there are no elected officials who would volunteer to be our primary representative on the county policy?
If nobody wants to be appointed to do it, I will consider it and, and see what it's about and then go from there. I don't mind being our representative, at least it's so new.
I suppose you could resign and we could
Yeah.
appoint somebody
I'm
else.
sure I could.
All right, so, then I nominate Councilman Rustin.
I second that nomination.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah, that means I gotta give up something else, right?
And as far as an alternate, Charlene, would you be interested in being an alternate for this?
I can.
Okay, I nominate Ms. Tucker.
Second.
Okay, all
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That means I can go to less meetings now.
All right, all right, so we have appointed a representative and an alternate.
Okay. So I will get the contact information to them tomorrow.
I wanted to bring up the property adjacent to City Hall that we talked about a while back about potentially selling. We decided that we would not sell that. The gentleman, Mr. Harmon, who wanted to buy the property before, has asked, would we be interested in selling him just 25 feet that's adjacent to his property? And so So I said, okay, I'll discuss it with council. I was kinda, after I saw the, vision plan from Orchestra Partners, I was kinda talking about that property because they use it in their planning. And I mentioned this to them, and they came up with an idea. And there was, this is, why don't you give the guy, give Mr. Harmon the 25 feet in exchange for a right of first refusal into purchasing his property? So that in the future, as we're trying to develop, you know, if we want to move forward with some of the concepts that Orchestra Partners is proposing, then that would be property that I think we might be interested in having from looking at their plan. It would be no obligation on our part, it would just be the right of first refusal to purchase that property. And then, having spoken with the city attorney, if we were to give him that 25 feet in exchange for that right of first refusal, we as a council at some point in time would have to come back, and there would have to be, I don't know if it's an ordinance or a resolution, but we would have to declare that that's surplus city property, that 25 feet. So what are your thoughts about that?
25 feet's not a lot of, it's not a big,
It's not.
is
It's
it-
a 1.8 acre lot. So
is it linear or is it square?
it's pretty much straight across, the property is almost rectangular,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I don't know if it's a pure rectangle, but it's close to rectangular. And so what borders him is a straight line, and he just wants an additional 25 feet that adjoins him. And in exchange for that, I discussed it with him, would he be interested in that, giving us the right of first refusal? He said, sure, fine. He thought that was a good deal for him. And I meant to check, and I did not see what the size of his particular parcel was, but I didn't do that. But it would give us additional property, and as you recall from looking, those of you who've seen the presentations from Orchestra Partners, they're recommending some development in that particular area, and that would, you know, give us, you know, the first shot at getting that property.
I think it's worth considering probably since it's not giving up the whole area.
Yeah, because what I wanted to do is come back at a later date if the council is inclined to do so, and do either the resolution or the ordinance, whatever is required to declare the property surplus for us to be able to give away that 25 feet. I think you could do a simple deed to where you wouldn't have to do a survey because we've got, you know, the description, we know where the property line is, it's just 25 feet from that line. So.
Can we see a visual of it next time? Not tonight, but.
Yeah. I mean, we could technically call it up now, but it may take me a while.
You can send it to us.
Yeah, I'll send you guys the visual. I
Yeah.
just
Do that.
would like to know, are we inclined to consider it?
I'm not opposed.
Ashley?
I'm good.
Ms. Lily, would you consider? Okay. So something that we, again, like I said, we'll have to do it formally at a later meeting in order to do that, so, and declare the property at 25 feet. Okay.
Can I share something real quick? Just around other city business. So with LT here, we've had some, and I'm gonna be short. We've had some pretty extensive vandalism last few days, and I would think you would probably agree with that, right? So hopefully we'll catch those individuals. There's been a lot of graffiti at the softball park down here, and as you know, the city's put a lot of money in those softball parks. A lot of people have done a lot of work down there. We just have some graffiti over time at the complex up there too. So, and I've said it a few times, but it sort of just hit home again. We are sitting ducks in terms of some places in the city without cameras, and that is no secret. The schools have cameras and all those other places. We have with those lights that we put at the park and at Bolton down there. Those are some extra security stuff too. But I think it's time to find some type of solution for cameras. I mean, if we're not gonna protect our interests, then we should just really just let anybody do whatever they want to with it. I thought about an idea today of reaching out to the county, because they have surveillance people that they use. I mean, the police department could probably send us some surveillance stuff too, even maybe working with Al and stuff like that. I think we need to go down a path to see what we can do to do some surveillance at our stuff.
Lewis gets hit all the time.
Well, I mean,
Because
it's
it's wide
Once
open
a
in
year
that
at least.
park.
well, the other thing, and I've said about the McDowell Road complex too. I mean, that is a thoroughfare, and it's right there by the jail. And there's people go in and out there all the time, and I think that's a hot button too. And I mean, you get people up there in the back far corner. I mean, there's nothing you can do unless somebody just does whatever. So, I think it would behoove the city, if that's a word, to find some surveillance for some cameras, like quickly.
Well, that is a word.
Yeah, well, quickly's a word
But
too.
anyway,
Yeah.
um,
I know we've already got some surveillance on our properties here. I know the senior center probably in the police department too. So I mean, I think we can leverage off of that some. The county's probably got some relationships, but I think that's a big need.
well, we've budgeted for, security cameras for the new public works facility. So maybe we should go out and, see if we can't get some sort of bundling type of,
Yeah.
package.
And some expert come out here and tell us, hey, you need to put them here, and I'd recommend they be the highest quality we can get, and maybe it'd be like a lease deal to where we can just pay a subscription service or whatever. I don't know how those things work, but, so I think that's a need, a big one.
Yeah, well, we can look
I
into
agree.
that for sure, so
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Okay.
All right, so real quick on the mayor's report, I wanted to just talk about, Alan talked a little bit about the public works facility. These are my pictures, okay? So this is, the building, and, pretty much all four sides have the siding around it. I added the signage onto it because, I copied it from another city's public works facility. And then this is from the street, and again, I borrowed this sign from a picture I took from another city. You can tell it was raining when I took it because there's water running down it. But the bottom line, you can see that this area here is what's going to be the covered parking. The roof is a very, very shallow pitch, so from down the hill, it looks like it's a flat roof, but it's not. And I tried to show this layout. I did this from memory, and I realized after later today, and I didn't have time to redo it, that these two bays down here are actually reversed. So what we're gonna have is one flow-through bay to bring in the large garbage trucks for maintenance. And so it would drive in, it would flow through, and it would come out the other direction. This would be the covered parking that you can see right here. So that's the 25 feet that we took away. So this was a 31,000 square foot facility. If we had that 25 feet, it's 25 by, we'll call it 100, so take 2,500 square feet off.
27 and a half or 28.
Yeah, off of that 31,000. So you still got 28,000 square feet. What this is supposed to be is the storage racks for the warehouse. This would not be a drive-through bay, and remember, this would be swapped because I drew it the wrong way. And instead of having a door here, there's actually two doors on this side, one here, one here. These are emergency exit type doors. And this office area is 50 by 50, so it's 2,500 square feet. We've got the plans for that. And it's located there primarily because there's existing plumbing and whatnot, so for bathrooms and showers, etc. I threw in the landscaping there. These tracks right here, concerned about the concrete slab's not in the best of condition. We've done a lot of repair to it already, and concerned about its ability to be able to support the weight of a garbage truck to bring it in there for maintenance. So what that is I went and got an online quote for diamond plate, half-inch thick steel plate, so that it would disperse the load of the truck and it wouldn't be directly onto the concrete. So that would cost us, based on the quote I got online, I think we could probably shop it cheaper, but that's about $27,000. And each one of these tracks is 4 feet wide, so you get 2 4-foot wide tracks right there if we were to do it that particular way. To do it solid, we would have just gotten too costly. Budgeted for that, by the way, so it does fit within the budget that we have there. So that's kind of what this thing's going to look like. This is, if we do all of the paving at one time, and I hope we can do, I went out and got an online quote for asphalt, and I also had done an estimate based on our street paving, and I think we've budgeted enough to do all of this. So this area behind the shop is 75 to 80 feet back this way. This distance across here is 300 feet. That's a football field, if you will. This little driveway over here is 30 feet. And this right here, from the front of the building, is 50 feet by, again, 300 feet. There would need to be some work tying it into a driveway out here. There's an existing loading dock right there, which is going away. That area has to be filled in, but we've got plenty of stuff that we've, from clearing trees and other debris and whatnot that can fill up most of that. But we want to get that nice and compacted before we do the paving out there. So hopefully we can get, roof on, as Alan said, finished by next week, start the electrical work, have lighting in there. Once we have lighting in there, we can erect. And, we may decide the layout for the warehouse racks. And I tried to estimate, this is not precisely to scale, but it's approximately to scale. So I tried to make them wide enough for a forklift or an automated pallet jack type thing to go through there. But we can lay that out differently. This is plenty of area over in here for tooling and equipment for the maintenance garage, and then we'll figure out what purpose we might use some of this other stuff. So I think, when we're talking I think we have less than 4,000 square feet in the existing shop, and
3,600.
and going to 27,000 square feet. It's going to be great for us, and again, and have all this room for the equipment and whatnot there. Okay. So that's what's going on out there. You may have noticed Beautification Board ordered these Once a Wildcat, Always a Wildcat banners. So thanks to the Beautification Board for that. Thanks to Alan and his team for putting them up on the poles, the Alabama Power poles. And so.
And they're legal?
They are legal. The agreement is that we can only put them up 60 days at a time. And when we wrote the thing up, I didn't realize we didn't have the banners. So we ordered the banners, and then we had a little bit of a delay on some of the, hanging hardware. So we've asked for an extension, and we put in our agreement that we could ask for an extension. I haven't heard back on that yet. So I basically asked them, let us keep them up to the end of the year. Okay? That should get us pretty much through basketball season, I think. And then if we want to do it again, we have to go back and ask. So we had the chamber had the Recreation All-Star Luncheon last week at Old Mill Square, and Columbiana was extremely well represented at that particular luncheon. So all of these folks over here are local nominees, and then we had these award recipients, which of course were nominees, but they were actually the big winners. So Just a Tish Wine and More was a nominee in the restaurant category, Farm Cat Company in the attractions category, Discover Shelby Fest in event and festival. All of those things, of course, these are two establishments here in Columbiana, the Discover Shelby Fest. We just had our second one at the Old Mill Square and the Broadway, but connecting Old Mill Square to Main Street. But the big recipient for the festival or event of the year was Columbiana's Liberty Days. So
Good.
really big winners there. We've got this nice little thing and a certificate. It's a trophy, or I guess you call that. But, and I was thinking maybe we ought to find different places, or put it in a little case and find different places around town to display it.
Yeah.
And then the Shelby County Commission was, received an award for the Advocate of the Year. And they have really, really done a lot, as far as, again, this, urban county thing, various, recreation awards, which we're working on now, as far as grants and things like that. You know, the lighting of the softball fields wouldn't have been possible without them. So I think, that was an award that was also well-deserved for the county commission. So all those things are right here in Columbiana. So we had a good showing at this particular event. Mayor's luncheon with Gary Palmer was supposed to be on the 11th. It was canceled. You may have heard they're having some issues finding the Speaker of the House. He felt like that he needed to stay in Washington to try to help solve that, and hasn't happened yet. And then next Monday, we're gonna have the Orchestra Partners Key Stakeholder Luncheon. I've sent an invitation out to all the council members and some of the key stakeholders. I asked for RSVPs. I can't remember if I asked for noon Thursday or noon Friday, but anyway, let us know who's coming, because we're gonna have the event catered, and we need to try to get a head count there. So that's it. We'll do it at the Grand Hall. It'll be, you know, if you wanna come at 11 o'clock and do a little networking, people wanna have a chat with, you know, stakeholders wanna talk to the guys from Orchestra Partner, you can do that. But we're gonna serve lunch promptly at 11:30, let everybody get something to eat, and then sit down and they can eat while Orchestra Partners is doing their presentation, which will start promptly at 11:45, and hopefully be out of there before 1:30. Questions on any of that? Okay, announcements?
All right, so this Friday is Shelby County High School's homecoming. The parade will start at 1:45, and then the game at 7, but really 6:30, because they'll do all the homecoming stuff before. Saturday, October 28th, is Main Street Columbiana's Witches Ride. What do we say? We say brooms up at 9:30. And then on Tuesday, Halloween, the 31st, is Monsters on Main. Why not?
Yeah, so we got the banners up just in time.
Oh my goodness.
So, any questions for Alan? Any public comments or questions? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion we adjourn.